We're live. Don't adjust your chats. We are here live with Drew Manchu, which we didn't think he was going to be here tonight, but is able to make something happen and make it here to the Blasted Statute Show.
I make things happen. That's what I do.
And we got Mike here, who has not read any books this week, so he's just here just for moral pleasure. I don't know who's.
My, we got a lot of
feedback.
Yeah, what's the deal?
So if this is your first time watching the Blasted Statue Show, what this is, we pick up our books on Wednesday. We give them all a good, thorough reading throughout the week when we can, and we blast the books we don't like, which is a total shit book, and we stash the books we do like. So we're going to jump into our reviews here in just a moment, but I just want to remind people, please give us a thumbs up, share, hit the like button, do all that good stuff. Help us get out there and share our channel. I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the reviews. When I know we reviewed all of us, at least the three of us, the red books this week. 6 books.
Hey, fuck off, sir. All right.
Yeah, fuck off, sir.
So when I was going through, I'm like, oh my god, I got to read more books. And then I actually put my books down the list that I did read, and I'm like, holy crap, I read a lot, and there were still a few more that I didn't get a chance to read. So I read plenty. Poor Mike is in the chat. Hey, Mike, how you doing? And Jackio is in the chat as well. So we'll jump into our books. Drew, you want to start us out this evening?
Yeah, I am going to start us out this evening. And just a heads up for you guys, I don't have my physical copies of my books with me at the moment, so I won't be holding up any of my fancy covers. Trust that I bought all the fancy covers for the first book that I want to go over. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. This is your stash of the week, House of X number 4. This book was absolutely amazing. I loved it. Basically, they're getting ready to take out the mother mold, which sits between Mercury and the sun. There's a psychic team up to get them some sort of, I guess you'd call it communications. Basically, they can. There's a delay, but they can figure out basically what's going to happen between them and the away team that is on the mission. So Cyclops has taken M and Husk and Jean Grey, along with Nightcrawler and Wolverine and Mystique. They went to the Mother Mold. They're attacking the Mother Mold at the end of the last issue. We get an explosion. Erasmus, the security chief, sacrifices himself to take out the X-Men. And turns out that he didn't kill them all, just Husk and Archangel. Husk, who nobody gives a shit about, and Archangel, who would have been useless flying through the corridors of a space station. Why'd they bring him? He died for nothing. This is the question I had. Like, really the only question I have about, well, there's 2 questions that I have about this issue. That's one of them. I think Hickman just wanted to be like, hey, here's Archangel. Yeah, he's in a couple panels. He looks pretty cool. Dead, right? And I'm like, okay, get rid of him. So they kill Archangel and Husk right away. And things have gone to shit. Nightcrawler is also injured. So he's got some sort of injuries going on they don't really get into, but he has enough power that he bamfs all 4 of his people where they need to be. Wolverine, Mystique, Cyclops, and himself each go for these 4 coupling collars that hold the Mother Mold. It's their safety switch, basically. If Mother Mold goes crazy, they can send her into the sun. So the X-Men are going to do that before she has a chance to come online. Wolverine does his job, leaves a pile of dead scientists behind him. It's pretty great. Nightcrawler does his job, leaves his scientists knocked out and tied up. I don't know why. He's too good a guy, I guess. And then it's down to Cyclops and Mystique. Meanwhile, back on the ship that's kind of in rubble at the moment. It's being held together psychically by Jean Grey, and they are boarded, and Monet pushes Jean into one of the escape pods and launches her, and then proceeds to eviscerate as many security forces as she can on her way out, but you could tell that she's going to be overrun by these dudes. Cyclops gets his collar taken care of. No problems there. Mystique gets turned around. Now, he should have bamfed her right where she needed to be. That right there was some heavy foreshadowing in the previous issue about Mystique and not being quite honest. So we'll see what happens with that. But she gets sucked into the vacuum of space by Karima, the Omega Sentinel, and Dr. Gregor, who have she's basically, Karima told Gregor, get up, get off your ass, stop crying. We need to do something about this. I'm not authorized to give you orders, but I am going to tell you, like, with the last bit of humanity I have, you should probably figure your shit out. So she gets on the offensive. Mystique gets blasted into space. They leave the whole area there a vacuum, so you really can't get to it. And the only chance they really have is for Kurt to bamf Wolverine out onto the control arm itself. And they're between Mercury and the Sun. As soon as they bamf out there, Nightcrawler is immediately vaporized. And Wolverine is more durable. He keeps healing back as he's vaporized, which is a kind of cool art effect that they do. And the Mother Mold comes online, does some really great monologuing about their place in the universe and how it needs to kill. He needs to kill his god, which is mutants, I guess, or humanity. Basically, it's insane from the moment it comes online, and they did not account for this. He gets the control arm off. They both go into the sun. Mission accomplished. Mother Mold's dead. So is Wolverine. Kurt's fucking dead. Monet is dead. Mystique is dead. And then all there basically is Jean floating in space and Cyclops trying to make his way to a spacesuit so he can get to her. I don't know how he's going to survive the sun in a spacesuit, but he wants to get to her, and he thinks that he can use his optic blast to put them on a trajectory to float home. It's a suicide mission, and it doesn't matter because he doesn't get to do any of it. He's immediately shot in the back with nano sentinels, which neutralizes power. And then, bam, execution style, they blow him the hell away just in time for the security force sentinels that were sent from orbit around Venus, I think they said in the previous issue, to arrive and basically rip apart Jean Grey's escape pod. And Charles Xavier breaks down and cries. And even though he knew this was going to be a suicide mission, this lights him up in the same way that the Genosian genocide did, in the same way that M-Day, where the No More Mutants thing happened with the Scarlet Witch. And that's all described very well in the like newspaper type collage overlays in the back of this issue. A lot of people have complained that there's a lot of text pages in these books. I would say that the info that we're getting in these really gives you a nice, very nice overview of what's going on and helps the writer dole out the information in the correct pace to keep everybody going, and just the story just keeps building and building and building. I love the pace of this thing. I think the Pepe Larraz art is phenomenal. There's nothing coming out right now on this level.
I have something to say.
Go for it.
If I brought Jean Grey and Mystique to space, there'd be plenty of explosions.
Joe, what do you think of X-Men this week?
I like this. I like where they've been taking this. So the first issue wasn't a fan of either one of the series. It was just too much. It was very cluttered. But I like the fact that they're focusing on one story now, and they're actually putting some meaning behind it. Great review from Drew, but I think some of the more bigger highlights in this, that great conversation with Wolverine and Nightcrawler about the afterlife, very powerful. Loved that.
I will say, Joey, that's the other question I had about this book. That gives me, I think that he puts that in there for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's to let you know that this isn't the world that you're used to, because
Yeah.
Wolverine was just dead for like 3 fucking years. And that
Yeah.
just stopped like 6 months ago. So he knows all about the afterlife.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked it. I keep looking at this because we don't really know if we're in a time. They're messing with time like they do in comic books. So I don't know if that's even referenced in here in any way. So I'm trying not to get too nitpicky with it. But I thought it was powerful. I love that. I love what the Sentinel had to say when it woke up about Titans and man being God. And it was very reminiscent of the story of the creation of Zeus and all of his brothers and sisters. Kind of falls in line with that.
What is he? You got it right in front of you. What does he say as he's falling in the sun? Something about Olympus. What was the quote?
It's reference towards it. So he wakes up and he says, if man made me, then man is God. And you are the Titans. Their spoiled lineage. But while you war, we children sit in judgment of you all above all. The judgment and find you both wanting. Let's see here. Then he goes on to, we have stolen your fire, which is a great line. That's how you kind of know it's from the whole Zeus Titans thing. And with it, we will burn you all. It was just great from a robot. That came from a robot.
Yeah, the robot is immediately like, mutants, you're trash. Yeah, but humans, oh, they're trash too.
Yeah,
Don't worry. Don't worry. You're all fucked.
You're all drunk. I really liked this. I love the art in it. I agree with you with the pacing on it. But as you also said, all of our characters are dead. Like, I don't know what they're going to do in the next issue. Everybody's dead.
Honestly, I'm excited for the next issue. It's if you've cracked the Krakoan code, it's called Something Sinister, and I think it's going to go into Mr. Sinister and the Chimera mutants.
Yeah.
Which I am super psyched to see. And maybe that leads back to the beginning of House of X, because we got all that stuff about Krakoa that was info dumped.
Yeah,
we got the first issue.
Yeah,
and they haven't gone back to it. And the one thing they haven't addressed is the pod people. Maybe the whole deal is like after this, Xavier, because the original Powers of X said that the original chimeras Sinister raised on the moon, right, were 1-to-1 genetic replications.
Right.
Basically, they're clones. So I'm thinking that pod people Cyclops we see in the first couple pages of House of X1 is one of those Sinister chimeras. That's just my thought process on it. I'm hoping that I'm right, because I think that
that would be cool.
That Xavier kind of Breaking Bad and being like, you know who we need is Mr. Sinister, is like the most fucked up thing I think he could do. And I like the way that they're doing that.
Well, right now I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen when McTaggart dies again, and we've got to start this issue over again. Like, because at any given moment, if she dies,
I think in the House of X storyline, she's assumed to be dead already.
Well, no, they froze her and kept her in the future.
But that's the 9th life. This is supposed to be the 10th, as so it's been described. Yeah. So who even knows, man? Yeah, I don't know. But every time you think you know what's going on, like he's Rowdy Piper. Every time you figure out the answers, he changes the questions, and I really dig that about this book.
But again, they've had some really powerful things in here, and I think that's what's basically been keeping me on this. I try not to overthink this. I know there was also a great homage to this whole service and sacrifice type of thing, like, mission first, whatever it takes, on both sides, on the human side and on the mutant side. I like that level of dedication in my superheroes. I thought that was really good. And they're not acting like they don't fear death. Like there is obviously a fear there. You get that in their dialogue, but this has to happen type of mentality.
Right. I dig the way that they're framing Xavier kind of as an extremist already before this. Him and Magneto being on the exact same page in the last issue, and the way that they came off very much cult-like. This is very much a yes, you're going to be a martyr. Yeah, you're going to be celebrated. You're going to die, but you'll never die because we'll let the memory of you live on. That to me was like, Xavier kind of had this pie in the sky idea that they were going to come back alive because of his reaction in this. And he's just been reinforced with the fact that, holy shit, I sent my kids off to be martyrs. Like, Moira has told me that time and time again, I send my kids off to die. Mm-hmm. And I think that he hasn't looked at it inwardly yet. And I don't know if he will.
We saw him crying at the end saying no more.
No more. Yeah, but maybe he's blaming other people and he's not blaming himself. So I think it could lead to him breaking bad, and it could lead to him breaking more rational. But this being the end of the second act of this bigger story, I don't see that being the case. I think he's gonna fucking snap. Huey, you read this book, right?
I did read this book.
Maybe we should let you talk about it. Shut the fuck up for a minute. We've just been.
I'm not going to have much
for the last 12 minutes.
I've been watching the clock. Yeah, this has been a great book. I mean, I'm with Joe. At the beginning of it, I was really kind of like, where's this going? I don't know. But man, this is super picked up. This was such a great issue. The visuals on this were awesome. I mean, there's so much. Not necessarily gruesome, but like, you have Wolverine blown up. There's like this bone sticking out of his arm. He's in the process of healing. Cyclops getting shot. Wolverine and Nightcrawler getting destroyed out there by the heat of the sun or vaporized. Just a lot of great scenes in this whole book. But this has been a stash the past couple issues for sure. Anybody else get their X-Men seeds to go plant them yet?
What?
I got the seeds, but I have not planted them.
The X-Men seeds.
I actually got a couple.
No X-Men seeds.
I got a couple. My daughter says she's going to wait to plant hers until this spring.
Yeah, this came out, I think, with House of X #1. Yeah, that's what I have. Like about 6 packages of them downstairs. We're going to
Aggressively Relaxing is documenting the growth of his X plants, I believe, on Instagram. So,
is he really?
Yeah, you can check out Aggressively Relaxing's Instagram and check out how those Krakoa plants are growing.
Dave?
Yes, sir.
Do you like planting your seeds?
I like planting seeds, yes. Just for going forward, yes. What the hell was that?
Shh, relax, I'm drinking.
This is a review show, so we will have.
You should be better by now.
We will have spoilers abound. Joe, why don't you go give us our next book?
Well, let's talk about my stash of the week. And I'll be honest with you, it was a close call for me. I had to go back and read it again just to make sure it would be my stash. And that's Savage Avengers.
Oh, yep, I had it right here.
Oh, my God. I freaking love this. I could not think of a better way to end this arc right here. Very powerful. Great stuff going on. We pick up with the battle with the Marrow God, and then we also find out right there at the beginning that the whole point of the Marrow God is to die. Our heroes don't know this. They beat them. So now they're all infected in some way, but we don't know anything about that until the future. Right? One of the sickest things I saw in here was the scene where Wolverine's got both of his claws in the Marrow God's head. And the two Venoms, or Conan's Venom and Venom, form a sledgehammer and start hitting his elbows to drive it in deeper. That was just absolutely fascinating to me. I don't know why, until the head just explodes. We find out that Conan has a real affliction against magic in this, and he focuses on that a lot. And Brother Voodoo, being a sorcerer, brings him back to life using magic, and Conan's not too happy with it. So then they all decide that we're going to go get Gath, who's the sorcerer bad guy. He lets them know that they're infected or whatever. But then we kind of get this kind of weird interlude, if you will, for personal introspect. Frank Castle sits there and he's looking over the caskets. The battles have been won or whatever. And Frank Castle looks over the caskets of his children and everything and says, "Who's Crumb?" to Conan. It's the first time I know of where Frank Castle is actually asking about, some sort of religious figure. We know he has a Catholic background, but never really directly asked before. And then Conan kind of gives him the response. He breathes life into us until we fight and die, and he sits and judges us, And Frank Castle and Conan, instead of jumping in the portal and taking the shortcut, they decide to walk back. Where's back? I don't know. But they obviously go into the wilderness and they're dragging their caskets with them. I thought that was just absolutely powerful on such a great scale. Because again, I said it in my own video, it's kind of reminiscent of religion. You have the figure, the prophet, if you will. He wanders the wild, He's simplistic in nature, but he understands his God, whoever God that is. And then Frank Castle, wanting more knowledge about this and wanting to be with him, travels with him to learn this and helps him by dragging their sorrow. Very deep, and I feel that was kind of undercut in the comic book, but really, if you read it, it had to scream at you. And I just thought that was just epically good storytelling, great dialogue with it. I love the art in this, and I love just the hodgepodge of characters being thrown together to make this happen. Very powerful. And I'm definitely going to get me some of this. What did they advertise at the end here? It says next issue, it has Conan and of course, the Punisher. I'm assuming it's a Savage Avengers story. Them hanging out together. I didn't see it solicited for this week, so maybe they'll do something next week. I don't know. But my ultimate goal is that this kind of leads them to actually meet Crom. I thought that would be really cool, and not get any knowledge from him. Find out that he's everything Conan has said he is. He does not care about you. He does not like you. He does not love you. He doesn't hate you. He just sits in silent judgment. I think that would be just awesome. So yeah, my stash of the week, Savage Avengers.
Yeah, to go on a lighter tone, this had quite a few jokes that kind of hit with me too. Yeah. I did like the whole hammer of Wolverine's claws in the head. That was great till it exploded. And then when Brother Voodoo, he says, "Hey, I need somebody alive to save Conan, and need to save a life or need to take a life to save a life." So he sends Wolverine to go get somebody to bring back alive. Well, Wolverine ends up cutting all his limbs off, legs. And he's like, "Did you have to stupefy him?" He says, "Well, matter of fact, yeah. Well, if you don't like how I shop, I love that line." And then there was a line later on, Venom was talking about how maybe Elektra kind of thought Conan was attractive. And he's like, "Oh, you like that roided out look?" And he's like, "He's not without his charms." So it had some great comedic stuff in there. Violent book. It still continued to be that violent book. They're not shying away from heads getting ripped off, limbs being dismembered. So it's a great book, and I'm enjoying it immensely. And that's a stash for me too. And looking forward to number 6. Drew, let me see here. I'm looking at my list. Did you read that?
I did not get a chance to finish it.
I guess I'll jump into an indie book, unless Mike wants to talk about something real quick. Like,
no, I hate you guys.
I knew you would. And I'm getting made fun of immensely for this, but I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to the chapel, and I'm going to get married. So this is Going to the Chapel by Action Lab.
Seed.
What's that?
And plant your seed. And
plant my seed. So this is nothing super new. I mean, it's a story I've seen the movie on numerous times. There's the woman, she's going to get married. She's really hesitant about going to get married. She doesn't want to do it, take that leap. So she's kind of talking with her friends about that. And then you have the groom-to-be in a bar at a bachelor party, and they're talking about how his bride's going to wear this multi-million-dollar necklace at this wedding. And he's like, "Yeah," the guy's like, "Yeah, that's my wife. That's my wife." And then there's 4 guys here in the background. Oh, okay. So she's going to be wearing this multi-million-dollar necklace. I think we're going to go ahead and break in this church and rob it. So they're dressed up as Elvis and different characters going in to take over this church. And we come to find out, though, that one of the guys that's doing the robbery knows the bride. He kind of gets her off to the side, pulls his mask off, and she says his name, but they actually know each other. Maybe they had been dating prior. We don't know that yet. But that's kind of how the book ends. There is one little thing where The old lady that's in there has a life alert bracelet because they have all the cell phones and nobody can call out, but she used her life alert bracelet to notify the police. And so police and ambulance end up showing went to the chapel because the police kind of go, what's that address? Okay, I know what's going on there. And so that's how it ends. That all those guys that are dressed up as Elvis and stuff are in the chapel. The police are surrounding the building. The bride-to-be apparently has a relationship with one of the robbers. She doesn't want to get married. Maybe she'll end up taking off with one of the Elvises. I'd pick it up just to follow through, but I wouldn't go paying $4 for it. I'd find a dollar bin. I'd pick it up there. I'd read it digitally, something, but I definitely won't be paying full price for number 2. So it's a blast. Nothing new. Pass it on to Drew. I rhymed like great legend this thing. I know it's good, but you know.
Yes, I'm back. I'm sorry, I need to put something funny in the chat.
Give us a book, Drew.
Okay, let's talk about it since people want to talk about it. Doomsday Clock, number 11. We want to talk about Doomsday Clock, number 11. The cover of this book is the first panel of this book. Gary Frank can't be bothered to draw a cover for this book. Instead, the cover is a hand reaching for a button. And it doesn't make any damn sense because it doesn't have to be. It's just Batman beating the shit out of a guy, so he can't press a button. It's half of it is Lex Luthor having a series of the same photograph found across time, and that's how he found about Dr. Man. It's just fucking dumb. They put so much emphasis on the first half of this book on what's her name, the Legion girl who is in the mental institution. And then like he just makes her disappear because she ceases to exist because they change time, but that's like not how time has worked before, but it's like how they're doing it now. She just kind of like Back to the Future's out of existence. It's just, man, it's like, and it's not even that good looking of a book. The art is just scribbly garbage, and it hurts my brain. It hurts my brain to think that we've spent 2 years now, I think, for 12 issues that it's not even done yet. And it's come down to, we finally get a showdown in the street between Dr. Manhattan and Superman. And they're just like, you. And he's like, you. It's like, blah. It's like, blah. They look at each other and it's dumb. And then it's over. The whole deal is like, Ozymandias organized this whole deal to take out all the heroes so that Superman would have to fight Dr. Manhattan. And it's like, he didn't know any of this coming into the universe. He didn't know any of it. He didn't realize it until he got there. It's like, oh, well, this is my plan now that I got here. No, he's like the smartest man in the world, but he can't work that quickly. He's not that adaptable. That's just it's like everything was done for a reason before he knew what the reason needed to be. It's just really bad writing. It's just really, really bad writing. It's like something finally happened in that issue where he froze everybody on the moon and put them to sleep or whatever. But after that, like, why are we still doing this? Like, why has Superman not just gone, okay, boom, I'm at Mars? He's faster than a speeding bullet. Why didn't he go there? Why? I don't know, because we have to do this secret storyline about the Superman theory, which is like, they say in like on the same page, they're like, yeah, that bullshit theory. Well, it's kind of true, but it's bullshit, but it's kind of true, but it's bullshit, but it's kind of true. Like they say that like over and over and over again. It's just so fucking terrible. I'm going to read the whole thing in one sitting when it's done in 45 years. So come back and I will let you know what I think of the whole thing in one big chunk. But I told myself I wasn't going to read it, and I did anyway, and I'm mad at myself.
You'd have knew that, Joe. But what do you got for your next book?
Oh, I don't know. I got all kinds of things. Let's talk about Batman versus Ra's al Ghul. Do y'all remember that storyline where Batman was fighting a robot that incited riots throughout Gotham, and Deadman was involved? This is what happened. That's it. Review done. This is stupid. This is so lame. And for some reason, Ra's al Ghul is now Professor Ra's al Ghul. We don't know why. It doesn't explain it to us. Deadman shows up for some reason. And apparently he can find out who's controlling the robot because it's being remotely done. Bad dialogue in this. Literally, damn your eyes is said in here. Damn your eyes. So corny and so bad. The art's not good in it. It's inconsistent as all get out. So I was trying to figure out why is this? Oh, and Batman kind of dies at the end, but Bruce Wayne shows up, and like two of the Robins there are like, so is Batman dead? Seriously, you don't know who he is? Like, okay, so that happened. Yeah, this thing's a dumpster fire. The blast. Damn your eyes! If you read this, it's so bad and such a letdown. And
damn your eyes.
I think what happened is.
It's a good line at a bar, actually. Look at a girl.
You're right.
Damn your eyes, girl.
I think what happened is our boy Neil Adams, right? He wrote this like 10 years ago, right? And it got cut off the floor or whatever, and he had to come up with something else. But he took it and like threw it in a drawer. And they were like, one day they were like, hey, Neil, we need to push out some more comic books like Marvel does. You got anything? He was like, just so happens I do, sir. And he didn't edit it, and the editor didn't even bother reading it and said, slap some color on that Joker. Let's roll. Because that's what happened. So, yeah, Ra's al Ghul, #1, horrible blast, and damn your eyes.
Yeah, the last book that Neil Adams wrote and was the artist on, I couldn't even take the first issue. I didn't even bother. That's why I didn't bother to pick up this one. Just because it was so horrible last time. I'm like, he's done burned me. I'm not going to be picking up this one.
When they open up the story, they actually have Batman. There's this guy that's wearing a dog collar, and his dog's next to him. The dog's filled with dynamite, and the leash is like hooked up to the dynamite. How that works, I don't know. But
that
they're
leash
running
goes
along.
Up his butt.
Batman comes over and cuts the leash, and he like grabs the dog and throws. You think he throws a dog and it explodes, and the homeless guy starts crying. Then he's like, "Da-da, it's underneath my cape," like some kind of cheesy Vegas magician. It is so bad.
Sleight of hand.
So bad. So yeah.
Where's the ace?
We can wait for the dollar bill.
Okay, let's move on to a good book, though. We talked about it before, and it seems like it's more of a horror book than actually is a superhero book. And it's getting that way more and more, especially with this issue, I felt. And Mortal Hulk #23. So at the beginning of this book, we have a flashback. It's a reporter kind of with her and her dad at the house. They're sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden, here comes the news warning: Hulk in the area. You know, I never really thought about that. You know, you always hear those on the radio, the emergency broadcast system. I can imagine, bloop, Green Hulk in area. Do not leave your home. You know, I thought that was great. I thought that was something that I never would have thought of. But that was, and it jumps forward then, and then Hulk is fighting Abomination, and then we have, I don't know, that other skinny dude, zombie looking dude. What's his name? That's not Rick Jones, is it?
Yeah.
That's Rick Jones?
Rick Jones.
Rick Jones, bitch.
Rick Jones.
And then, Hulk's just tearing crap up while the other, the Harpy, Rick Jones, and Samson, yeah. They're off to doing something else. This is pretty brutal, too. Puck ripping the brain and the spine out of that one machine that has the UV light that's destroying Hulk. And then we got toward the end with the Abomination end up spitting the acid all over Hulk's face and him melting. You know, what a great visual that is too. That very last splash page on that, and that's what I'm saying. That's where it brings more of the horror out of that book. You know, because his Hulk is snashy. He's trying to say it, but you know, his face is melted. Yes, that's what we did was Dead Man. That was awful. So Immortal Hulk number 23 is freaking awesome book, and it's definitely a stash, and it's continuing to get stronger and stronger as the story rolls on. What about you, Drew? You read Hulk?
Yeah, man, I've been enjoying this. The one thing I will say about the Immortal Hulk is the art style and the interiors does nothing for me really. It's not bad, it's just doesn't excite me. And sometimes there's some cool panels and some really cool stuff going on, but the overall character designs, when they're just like people standing around, I'm like, I'm not for it. Beyond that, this story is freaking amazing. It continues to impress. I really love the Sun Tzu quote at the beginning of this book. I don't have it handy, but I thought that it was
really as dark and impenetrable as the night.
Exactly. So it's like it keeps getting darker and darker, and I do that, enjoy that about this book.
What about you, Joe?
I love Immortal Hulk. I don't mind the art in it. It's not as bad as Raja Ghul, so I can't complain but so much. I love the fact that Rick Jones is in it. I love the fact that they referenced in the earlier continuities of Rick Jones that he was a rock star. You know, it was kind of cool. Yeah, I've never been a fan of Alpha Flight or Gamma Flight or any of the flights. I'm not a real big fan of Puck and all that, but I thought he was pretty cool in here. I love Creed getting involved, getting in there. I always thought he was a kind of cool character. I don't really care about this reporter person and her flashbacks to her past. I'm just not interested in it. I think it might have something to do with the story, but not currently. We're just getting things about her. The fact that this is a horror story and it's gruesome. It fits the definition of gruesome. Like they have no problems with tearing brains out, ripping skin off. It's just gore galore, and it's fun. They make it fun. So yeah, this is a hard stash for me. I'm enjoying me some. I don't think I hate anything Cates has done. To be honest with you, this is pretty good.
Double S.
That's Al Ewing.
This is Ewing.
Ewing, yeah.
Well, he's stuck up again.
What?
Double S said he heard that Immortal Hulk is ending. I think it is.
Yeah, 25, I believe. That's real soon. But it's been really good, and Al Ewing's going to give himself an ending here. Right. Has nothing to do with sales. It's a creative direction that he wants to go in, and I dig it. You know what, Joey, I do have something to say about part of your review, and I agree with most of it, except for the fact that Puck is awesome. He is the only thing that's really exciting about Alpha Flight. Before there was a talking raccoon on the Guardians of the Galaxy, there was a Canadian midget on Alpha Flight that kind of has the same attitude. He just kind of doesn't give a fuck, and he does his own thing. I always saw him as kind of the Wolverine of the Alpha Flight. I know Wolverine was on Alpha Flight for a minute, but he was and he also has kind of a Dum Dum Dugan vibe to him as well. He's just kind of the guy that wants to get the mission done. He doesn't care how he's got to get it done, and he doesn't care who he's got to insult on his way to getting it done. So I've always loved Puck. I always thought he was pretty dope, yeah, he might not be worth choking behind the dumpster at a Denny's, but he is a Canadian midget. So
now Mike's the one who chokes the midgets behind the dumpsters. I do the raccoons. Mike's the midget guy.
Don't worry, we'll talk about Puck in a minute.
With that mustache.
Don't judge Kroger, Lemmy.
Puck likes to fuck.
So one thing I would go back to Immortal Hulk. So they had that one. I think it was a fifth printing. It was the face morph. You know, the full front and back. I think you do have one Red Harpy on the cover of Immortal Hulk this week, correct?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So there are a lot of books that are doing that cover because that one for Hulk sold. What does everybody think of those? I think they're lame. personally.
I think most of them
don't
are
know.
lame. Some of them look really freaking cool, though.
The Punisher one, I like the Punisher one.
I like the one for Fantastic Four was Doctor Doom. I thought that was dope.
I got that one too. I love that one as well. This one's okay. It's the last copy I could pick up.
The thing is, it works really well with any character that has like a natural duality to their origin or their mythos, because it's basically part of them being ripped from the whole. And that's kind of a cool visual. There are a few characters they were just like, yeah, that would look neat, and it's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that Herpy one, but again, even with Frank Castle with the soldier into a person thing, I like that. And then they got a bunch coming out next week too with Spider-Man and all that, and they're going crazy with it, and that's fine. But a lot of it was just as I was looking through it, I was like, why is that even a thing?
Okay, we'll jump. See, I started Immortal Hulk. Let's go to Drew. Your next book.
One series that I've really been loving is Deceased, and we got a really great one-shot tie-in to Deceased this week. A nice, big, thick, oversized issue. A Good Day to Die. It was subtitled. I thought this was cool. Even though I have an unnatural hatred for John Constantine, he was featured in this book. I thought it was pretty neat. You get Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, which are a fun combo there. You get Mr. Terrific, who is not awful. I guess that's the best ringing endorsement I can give for Mr. Terrific. He's not awful. And you get Big Barda and Scott Free, the Miracle Man, or Mr. Miracle, and they were really great. One thing that the writer and artist made happen in this book is most of the Mr. Miracle Big Barda pages are that 9-panel layout that Tom King and Mitch Gerads used in the Mr. Miracle miniseries. They're not, I wouldn't say they're as poignant or poetic or even minimalist as those pages were, but I like the fact that they use that 9-panel layout that kind of reads like, okay, this is Mr. Miracle and Barda. This is their kind of story. They're just chilling in their house. That's kind of their interactions. There's like 2 pages of them. Like they know somebody's at the door. They don't know if it's a zombie or not. It's Mr. Terrific, but they spend 2 pages basically just bullshitting about who's going to answer the door and whether or not they should answer the door. And I thought that was kind of cool, kind of an homage to that story and the way that they portrayed those characters there. I think that they did a great job with Booster and Beetle, making them interesting. There's a lot of just like, they get attacked by a zombie, turn into a zombie, attack somebody else who turns into a zombie nonsense in this book. But like while Barda and Miracle are fighting to make sure that Booster can get to this time machine, they basically decided it'd be better to sacrifice themselves than to save themselves and sacrifice the mission to save the world. So Mr. Miracle says, hey, if we can turn back time, if we can find a way. And then she's like, are you really going to quote Cher while we're dying? And he's like, what can I say? I like Cher. Those were his final words on this earth is, what can I say? I like Cher. That was definitely cool. I thought that was funny. Constantine's a part of this book that I really kind of checked down on until the end when Fate showed up. And he's just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How are you going to let me live and all those heroes, actual heroes, die? And I completely agree with that. Why the fuck would you let Constantine live and let those other heroes die? If this had a part 2, if it was A Good Day to Die part 2, I wouldn't read it because it'd be a Constantine book, and there's no reason for those things to happen. Constantine is like the only comic book property that has been given 14 opportunities to be a movie, a show, carry his own book, be the leader of a team book, and every single time it fails, sales aren't there, and the quality's not there because Constantine sucks. But this book is pretty good. I'm going to stash it.
What about you, Joe?
Oh, I love this. This was great. One of my favorite parts was with Constantine. Sorry, I like Constantine.
I missed this show.
I think he's extremely. I like the wit of him. The I don't care. I just want to drink and smoke cigarettes, and then he always comes around and does the right thing. It's always very predictable, but that's okay. Not a big fan of Mister Terrific, but again, I thought he was very well used in this
He
story.
did what he was supposed to do. I don't care
Yeah.
for him either.
That's about all I need from him. I love the fact that we got Brewster Gold and the Blue Beetle hanging out again. The whole bros before heroes thing kind of playing out again. I like the fact that they didn't jump to the answer of running to a time machine. I think that's a shortcut in writing. And then, so what is their answer? Their shortcut is to go to magic. So I'm not really sure where you would take this either way. We knew it was going to be one of the two to begin with. So that's fine. Did it work? Did it not work? We don't know yet, which I also like that too. I thought they left us off very well, wondering. I love the fact that Dr. Faith is coming back and Zertana's at the end of it. But then again, it kind of doesn't really fit into the whole Justice League continuity that we have going on right now with Justice League Dark, where Zatanna and Dr. Faith are actually enemies right now. Well, not enemies, but she killed the Dr. Faith, or the God part of Dr. Faith. So that was kind of weird, but whatever. Another universe, another planet, whatever. You can always write that off as something else.
Yeah, this is an Elseworlds tale. Like,
yeah, definitely. I love the scene with John Constantine running away, dumping into a cab, saying, "Take me someplace," and he just has to set somebody he knows on fire. Like that was brilliant. I kind of liked it. Love the detailed art in it. I've never been a huge Mr. Miracle fan. I think I have issues 1 through 5 of the original run. After that, just kind of
those are worth having.
Huh?
Those books are worth having.
Oh yeah, they're yeah, they're pretty good. But I do like the fact that you kind of get this kind of normacy from Mr. Miracle and Berta. Like they have a regular, normal family vibe going on. They're just stuck in unusual situations. And the way they look at it would be the same way any other couple would look at it. Like if there was a zombie apocalypse and somebody started knocking at my door, I would look at my wife being like, should we even bother answering it? Is this something we need to do? Like why are we doing this? So I like that. I think this is a good tie-in to the Deceased series. I'm very happy with this pickup. It's definitely a stash for me.
Yeah, I wanted to get that cover you have right there with Wonder Woman. I can't find it. I like that cover.
That is a pretty cover. She's got lipstick.
Shout out to the chat real quick. Mastodon Comics and Collecting popped in. Good to see you. John Constantine would not fit perfectly in Black Hammer. They probably have a different version of a limey, useless British magician. It's probably written as like he's a douchebag because that's how Constantine's written. Black Hammer rules. Also, shout out to Jack Yo, who's been in here chopping it up with the conversation, and Double S as well. Good to see you guys back for another live edition of Mike Plays Gears 5 while we talk comics.
I agree with Drew on this. I like how they did take a lot of that Mr. Miracle run from Tom King and put it into here. You still have that same relationship between Big Bart and Mr. Miracle. They brought the veggie tray back. You know, that was one thing that was we're like, really? You know, in that Mr. Miracle run, and they have it in here. I do like the other lines here when after John Constantine wrecks his car, and Mr. Miracle asks, "Are you okay?" It's Peachy. It has set my best mate on fire and crashed his car while sitting in his ashes. How's your day going? My entire planet was destroyed. All right, it's not a competition. You know, that was a good line. I do love the share line as well. But the way that's ended, I don't see how this could be a one and done unless it's going to tie into the regular.
Yeah, I think it's going back into the Deceased. I think this is like just a tie-in that basically brings Constantine into the fold. Like, honestly, that's going to make me hate deceased if Constantine is a bigger part of it. And that this I might retroactively come back and damn this book for doing that. But I really enjoyed reading it this time around. But we need to go back to the chat once again because we have a special guest just popped in.
Yeah. What is Wugu?
Woo-goo.
Woo-goo. I don't know what woo-goo is. I'll talk to her about it after.
I know what Woo-goo is.
Is that the same as planting your seed?
Hey, we're
That's
not going there.
woo-goo.
Wugu.
It's not the dedicated night.
Who? Ho?
Oh,
Woo-
she meant to say woo-hoo.
She meant to say woo-hoo.
Oh.
She's
Woo-goo.
she's made it right. Hey, Joe, you're up with your next book. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Alpha Flight, True North. Should be Alpha Flight, True Garbage.
Oh, I didn't read it yet. But do you know what the hook of that book is?
I'm sorry?
Do you know what the hook of that book is? Like the gimmick?
Number one.
No, it's all Canadian creators.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably the most like polite, you know, like hey, you get like you're some superheroes, some super villains, and like and like they talk it out and give it a, you know, maybe you figure it out over a game of hockey.
This is basically 3 short stories of, hey, remember the one time where the characters did this in a comic book? Well, here's a little bit more information about it. That's it. There you go.
Basically, the writer went, oh, we didn't give you the full story, eh? Oh, sorry about that.
Right. So, and of course, we go to places. We got Talisman and what's the one that can change into animals? What's her name?
Snowbird.
They're all forgettable. They go to a village in the northern part of Alaska where apparently monsters have been doing things, and they dispatched them really, really easy. A ghost shows up and says, "I love you, daughter," and the daughter says, "I love you too, Dad." And then we move into the next story. The next story is Puck and his woman.
Who likes to fuck?
Yeah, the not Gamora, but looks like Gamora, fish person, who's apparently so evil. We get a long-winded story about Puck back in the day when he was a younger man and the stuff the adventure seeking they used to do. That got old really quick. And then Captain Canadian and his wife apparently are on the outs now. And they have a daughter. And they're in a secret facility right now because Captain Canada wants to hook back up with her. So, yeah, there you go. There's your review, folks.
Trying to get a slice of that nostalgia pie.
Yeah, they're definitely trying. Basically, I think what they went for was that they were just trying to update us on the characters, which, okay, I'll buy that. You know, we need to understand that Puck's really, really older than he looks and that he's married to this green fish lady.
I didn't read that book yet. I bought it.
Yeah.
But I didn't read it yet. And my question for you is like, is there a scene where like Alpha Flight's just like enjoying a coffee and donut at Tim Hortons? Because if there's not, there's no reason to have Canadians write this thing.
None of them are hanging out. They're all separated. So no, there is one scene where Captain Canada and his lovely wife they buy some groceries.
No, they're hanging out on the beach too with Puck.
They have milk in a bag.
Probably.
Check the art.
They do up there.
They have milk in a bag. That's at least one good Canadian reference.
So yeah, this whole thing was just it's a hard read because the reason why it's a hard read is because nothing goes on for like long periods of time in this. It's just dialogue to make sure you understand who Alpha Flight is, which is fine. I don't know who's out there screaming they need more Alpha Flight. I don't know.
Canadians, apparently.
Apparently.
Sorry about that.
But yeah, no. Just like I said in my first review of this, the only time Alpha Flight was any good is when Wolverine was in it.
So that one time and that flashback issue, so twice.
Yeah. So this is a hard blast for me. Shame on me for buying it. I should have known better.
Out of the 3 stories, what was your favorite? Did you have one that was like, okay, that's better than the other 2?
Doesn't seem like it.
Nope.
No, I like the first one. At least I love the art in the first one. I thought that was kind of a cool story. I did love the zombie deer thing or whatever they were, the dogs.
Was
Winding
Sasquatch
Woods.
in it?
No, what did they call them? They had a name. I don't want to open the book back up. It don't matter.
We are salt and bone, lost and forgotten. Your flesh shall sustain us.
Oh, yes, it will.
Yeah. I'll sustain that flesh.
It's not that big of a deal. I didn't care for
Yeah, it was all just basically based on emotions. That's how it was, that whole thing. There was some action in there, but it was all about the softer side of these people and the human side of these people, I think. I do want to ask what the hell's going on with Puck. He's standing over the two people that are sunbathing. He's got a funky shadow in his crotch there. It kind of looks like he's dangling out the bottom of his shorts.
Whoa there. Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa there,
trying to
buddy.
even figure that one out.
Yeah, I don't think I could be able to show that.
Put the beef
which
back in the
panel-
barn.
Which panel is it? There it is. There he is right there. If you look at his shorts, there a little thing dangling out.
Make
looks
your
like.
screen big so we can see your dangle dongle.
Hey, don't. I don't know how to do that. How do I do that?
There you go.
There you go. Solo mode.
Let's see. Ooh, my finger's on his dangle.
Stop poking his dangle dongle.
Yeah, you can see this is kind of a weird shadow.
Yeah.
Hair relates clear up to the bottom of the shorts.
Yeah, who's the inker on that book? Because he fucked up.
Yeah, that's a bit wrong, I think. Yeah, was it worth $5? No, definitely not worth $5. Now, are they trying to reintroduce us to these characters because they planning on bringing Alpha Flight back?
Yeah, they're going to do that.
Yeah, let's hope that they bring Alpha Flight back in like a fucking Avengers story arc and not in their own book. Like, if Aaron did the Squadron Supreme pretty well, leading into and then falling out of the War of the Realms. And I think that if they did like a Agents of Wakanda versus Alpha Flight deal, like, the Canadians, let's get them taken care of. We'll see. But Alpha Flight itself has been back around, not in that formation. Alpha Flight after Secret Wars became basically Sword. Like the Alpha Flight was led by Captain Marvel, so it was like Sasquatch.
Gamma Flight,
Puck.
right? Didn't they change to Gamma Flight?
I don't know. Maybe they did.
They're an Immortal Hulk. That's right, because Puck and a couple of them are in that.
I think Gamma Flight would be the Gamma related.
Well, yeah, because if you look at Immortal Hulk now, Puck and all of them, they're Gamma Flight. They're
Is Captain Marvel in with them?
not anymore.
And like America Chavez or whatever?
Jeez, who cares?
Exactly. But like that was like the group.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting Alpha Flight and Ultimates amalgamated there, I think, but
I think you are, but it don't matter. It's still garbage storytelling.
both those books were pretty darn good in my opinion. I think if this wasn't good, then that is what it is. The original Alpha Flight was good for like 5-6 issues, and then it kind of meandered into nothingness. And there's like 110 issues of that run or whatever, and I read them all. They are not great. I got a full run of Alpha Flight for $10, and it came with a long box.
Yeah, I have almost a complete run of Alpha Flight too. Let's move on to, oh my God, this irritates me because this is reminiscent of number 1 for me personally, and that is Fantastic Four number 14. At the last one, they were talking about this new territory, this new direction that Fantastic Four are going in. And I'm thinking, what direction are they going? I'm excited. Let's do this. I was on the verge of dropping this book, but something new. Let's go. Let's do this. There's nothing new. Let's talk. This book, they're talking about doing something new. They're not doing anything new. They're heading to do something new.
Your voice is getting awfully high pitched there.
I'll tell you what, guys.
I'm sorry. This book is no
I
good.
expected more from you, Dan Slott.
Dan Slott, you horrible. I don't like you no more. Dan Slott? No. Yeah. The whole thing of their original ship gets put in the Smithsonian of, this is one of the ships that had orbited space, and then Mr. Fantastic gets a little reminiscent, so him and Johnny Storm build their ship 2.0, which is they're going to go travel to that original place they had planned in the first book. I don't know. They talk about meeting new people in the next one. Maybe I might get that because it might be a key book. But other than that, I'm dropping Dan Slott's shit. I'm sorry. Mr. Slott. You're just not doing for me no more. Okay?
I apologize on behalf of Blaster Stash It for Huey, the comic half Squatch. His mother was inhabited by a Bigfoot and impregnated, and this is the result. Somebody who doesn't. Yes, she was taken in and taken over. If you know what I'm saying. That's where Huey comes from, and that's why he doesn't understand the beauty of your words when you describe the Fantastic Four, the first family of Marvel, and their wonderful adventures. This is going to lead to something new. This is them taking aim at something new, and it's the first issue of a story arc. So he's going to take his time setting it up, and I really love what Slott's done with the Fantastic Four. Only exception is I don't like how the kids have been treated, but that takes it back to the original style of Fantastic Four adventure storytelling, and I dig it. I thought this was another great issue in a run of great issues, and if Huey drops it, I mean, so be it. I'm sorry that you didn't like it.
The book's going down.
Damn you, Dan Slott.
Damn you, Dan Slott.
Dan Slott took the Fantastic Four. In issue number 1, he didn't give us the Fantastic Four. He didn't even talk about them, really. They didn't even show up. And now he's on issue 14, and he's going to be like, they're going to do the origin story again, and I don't like it. That's my Sasquatch impression.
Joe?
I missed this show.
So I got a blast. Drew's got a stash. Where are you falling on this book?
Blast.
Thank you, Joe.
I got to blast it. Look.
You just confirmed that Huey is wrong by espousing your opinion in the first place.
Don't get mad. But I did get this cool cover, and this is the one you were talking about where it's
I dig it.
That is really cool. I really dug that. There were some good things in here, but for the most part, yeah, it was, hey, you remember that thing we did that gave us our powers? Like, how could you forget? Let's tell some stories about that. So we tell some stories about that. And then it was like, hey, I got a great idea. Let's do it, only let's do it the way we would have done it then. Right? No superpowers to make the ship or anything. Screw the fact that the little girl can legitimately make one out of a pickup truck. Let's do it the hard way.
I see that Sue Storm side boob. Totally worth the price on the cover.
And oh, by the way, Grimm's going to say a bunch of stuff because he's self-reflected so much that he doesn't understand anything. But the blind woman understands him totally, and blast off. Thank you. Now, do I think this is an important issue to write? I think that's the ultimate question. Yes, I do think this needed to happen. Just because I'm not a fan of it doesn't mean I won't recognize it for what it is, because what they will do next in the planet or the solar system that they never got to, something's going to happen there. So you need a reason to make that happen. I think it's kind of a weak reason, but it has to happen somehow because we're going into this new direction that should have been. We'll call it that. Instead of a what if, we'll call it a should have been issue. So let's see where they're going to take us. That's what I'm doing. That's how I'm treating this book. It's nothing more than a transition. Every arc has one. This is nothing more than a transition into that next story. Hopefully they lead to something good because Fantastic Four hasn't let me down yet.
Okay.
Mike. How'd you feel about Fantastic Four?
I like that side boob, so I'm stashing it.
Yep. Split decision, gang.
That's all because you showed him side boob. That's over and he said stash.
Look, I know the way to his heart, all right? You can't blame me for that.
You shared a bed.
I want to know, real quick, it's kind of off topic of Fantastic Four. So they just released the I guess all 3 issues of the Batman Damned in a hardbound version. Did they edit the Batwing out?
I'm gonna guarantee they did.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they did.
It's come sealed, so I'm not going to buy it just to find that out. But I want to know.
Whoa, you're not gonna buy it unless it's got Wang in it? That's very
I've already have all the issues.
It's very
Oh,
telling.
wait a minute. You're twisting it. You're getting all twisty.
I don't want to twist it. You apparently want to twist it.
Nope, not getting twisty. I'm just saying that I'm curious if they edit it out. That's all. But I'm not going to spend $40 and buy it when I have all. I go look at Batwing.
You're not necessarily in it for the Wang. You're just curious. Is that what you're saying?
That's what it is. Just curious, Drew.
Yep, we're back.
Yeah, we are. It's getting all twisty now.
Oh man.
Let's talk about one other book that we all read this week, and then we'll jump into lightning round. Let's talk about Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and let's start with Joe or Drew. Who one of you guys want to start with this?
Oh, I'll start. This had a beautiful art germ cover that overlays with another beautiful art germ cover to form one big, beautiful art germ cover. And I got 2 pages into it. That's all I know about this book. Great cover. Stashing that cover.
Okay, then Joe.
Yeah, this is a hard blast. This is garbage. As a matter of fact, it's poo. Apparently delicious poo from Lex Luthor. That's what Poison Ivy's snacking on in here.
She likes fertilizer.
This is so bad. I never cared less about 2 characters in a comic book and their personal plights. That's the entire thing. It's just their personal plights, and then all of a sudden Woodroom shows up. Why is this guy even relevant? I don't know.
Because he was just on that Swamp Thing TV show.
Yeah, well, I mean, they
bringing back the Floronic Man. They did it, and didn't they do that in Justice League Dark?
Yeah, they were trying to push it over in Justice League Dark too. He's part of a team over there now of villains, and it's stupid over there too. So yeah, all the poo you could eat right here, folks. All the poo you could eat. Literally, there's nothing to review here. It's legitimately just dialogue between 2 people throughout the entire issue, and then out of nowhere, Lex Luthor's robot pops in with some magical poo, and then 20 pages later, Woodroom shows up, the Floronic Man, because that's dangerous, and he's going to cause some trouble because he's in charge of the green now, and it's so just dumb. I don't know what they're going for here. So this is a blast. Not only is it a blast, I will not be picking up any more issues of this because I don't care about Laverne and Shirley hanging out in damn apartment talking to each other.
Wish I knew that Laverne and Shirley song. I'd start singing it. I don't know it though. That for me, the book wasn't great. I did like the Floronic Man coming back because I thought he was kind of a cool character from that Swamp Thing annual, and so I'm glad he's back. But I'm just like, I wish it was under different circumstances. That's my only downside to it. The art germ covers are beautiful. I love them. My only bitch about them is they're connecting covers, and they don't. I mean, if you want to display them as like one big cover, you can't because of the way they're. You have to like scoot it over.
Yeah, overlap them bitches. Oh yeah,
overlap them. That would get you excited.
Match up that ponytail. Yeah.
But that Poison Ivy cover, that's freaking love that cover. But I don't know. It's only 5 or 6 issues. I might pick them up. But yeah, it's just the whole. You're not good. You're not healthy. You're sick. Let me help you. Then she grows into some big. I don't know what it was inside that stall. Big green ass thing. But
garbage.
Still a piece of garbage. Okay, I guess we're gonna jump into lightning round. And Drew, I don't know if you really know your lightning round this week.
Oh man, I read a lot of books. I'll throw a couple of thoughts at you from the things that came out for like the past 2 weeks. because they're all blending together for me at this point in time. Punisher number 15. I dig it. I think the art is a little bit pedestrian. It's not what I really want all the way through the arc. It's been the same team, and the action just kind of falls flat. There's just really great, still moody panels. They give a really great ambiance to the book. The design of the whole thing is cool. I like the aesthetic they're going for. I just feel like the line work is a little bit sloppy and kind of repetitive in a book where explosions should ragdoll people a lot. Like the look of his body's flying through the air is kind of like cut and paste. But the story is great, and it's coming to a head. The next issue is the last issue. So check out Punisher, man. I really enjoyed that. Spider-Man Life Story just ended, and I thought that was amazing. The last issue included Miles and some Superior Spider-Man stuff. And I thought that was a cool way to end this book, kind of throw something from the last 10 years at this look of Peter Parker aging over the years, as it's like if he became Spider-Man in the 60s and time worked the same way it does IRL, which I think that's a really cool concept. I like the fact that they did that, and I think this is a universe that they can maybe revisit with other characters. Zdarsky does great work. Bagley does the art. It's just killer story. Geez, what the hell else did I read this week? Crowded is a really great indie book about crowdsourcing protection or assassins, and these characters are really funny. A lot of humor in that book. Geez, I don't remember anything else that I read this week. I'm going to be honest, gang. So
Christopher Sabella on that Crowded.
Is that who the artist is?
The writer.
Right.
On that. You said Punisher's ending at 16?
The Rosenberg run. It's starting over.
Oh, okay.
We're also getting a new Deadpool real soon. With Kelly Thompson writing and Chris Bocciolo on the art. And I can't wait for that Bocciolo art on Deadpool. Just saw that.
It shows Immortal
reviews.
up to 27. So
maybe that's not ending. Maybe that was a rumor. I know they're doing a whole bunch of covers and promotion and an oversized issue for number 25.
Joe, your lightning round.
All right, let's run through this. First indies, we got Red Range Pirates of Fireworld. This is actually a pretty decent story. It starts off as a Western, turns out to be a Land of the Lost type of thing, or Journey to the Center of the Earth, whatever. There's dinosaurs in it. There's cowboys. There's an African-American twist to this where they didn't make it all political and weird. They actually did a aha to everybody else type of thing in it. I really enjoyed that. I'll probably be picking some more up at that as long as I can get it. Midnight Vista is basically an alien abduction story. There's been some chatter if this was actually somebody's experience or inspired by their experience. I don't know. It's still pretty weird, and we're getting into some kind of Men in Black kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool, and I like this kind of art in it. It's pretty decent. Mystery. This is garbage. There's no review to it. It's all about her. Not even her superpowers, just her. And what she does on a daily basis.
What'd she do?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Something is killing the children. Got this beautiful prison cover. Oh my God. This is really good. I really enjoyed the idea of this story. I think it's really refreshing, and it's kind of a new take. You kind of mess around with the Wonder Years, and you throw monsters and a Chica that can slash and hack them. Sure, I'll read that. Berserker Unbound. We get some character development between our homeless man and our warrior. They do not speak the same language, but important things they're able to communicate to each other, through the normal means that you would when you can't speak somebody else's language. But then we start to find out that details get missed. So that was kind of a cool play on how language and body works. But other than that, I like the way this is going. This is a fun read. Space Bandits, man, right when you think this thing is going to get weird, it throws you a curveball, and it keeps it interesting. I'm really enjoying this. These two girls have been done over by some men, and they're going to go take care of business, and they do it in the most delightful way and most violent way you could possibly come up with. I'm enjoying this. Once you get into reading this, you start to understand why this got picked up for a show real quick. Goon, number 6. What would the be covering this one? We got our ape gangster, and we find out that there's a villain in the background in the shadows, a mobster type, kind of running the role. And he's kind of tired of Goon. We also find out that ape and Goon can go toe-to-toe in a fight. That was pretty cool. Death-Defying Devil. Remember when I read issue 1 of this? I said, when this gets weird, I'm going to dump it. Well, they couldn't wait any longer. Issue 2's here. It got weird and stupid, and it makes no sense. Thank you. I think this is, what's her name? Yeah, Gail Simone. So we should have expected that. Let's see here. Oh, weird.
Shade for Gail Simone. Gail Simone shade. Hashtag that Simone shade.
Whatever. I don't think I read anything past 3 issues of anything she's written.
Check out Secret 6.
I did.
You didn't like Secret 6?
After issue 3, I was just like, I kind of see where this is going.
The first volume was great.
Yeah, they were what they were. Weird. Love me this weird character. This guy's really cool. A lot of fun stuff happens in here. What do you do when a guy can't die and the other person can't stop killing? You get cool government conspiracy stuff. This plays out well, and the guy has an English accent. Makes it cool. And of course, Spawn 300. I went with this Virgin variant cover.
Oh, I read that too.
Yeah. What happened in this? Spawn stuff.
Yeah.
Really.
My theory on Spawn 300 is this. If you love Spawn, this will make you blow your load.
Yeah.
If
definitely.
you are like, on the fence about Spawn, or you don't like Spawn, this book is going to be like, it's a waste of what, $8 in my opinion. The art was really good, but the story does absolutely nothing. But you get that new She-Spawn.
Justice League number 31. I like this kind of Year of the Villain story that they kind of have going on right now. Some exciting stuff in here. This one just seemed very, very wordy, a lot more wordier than the other ones, for no reason than just to add it. But we did get a cool little homage to December 4th, 1941, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, where the Justice Society and Flash and Green Lantern are there. And come to find out, it's the villains that are actually going to do the first bombing run. Thought that was kind of cool. Future, we got, what is it, Camdy? Is that his name? It's the Tarzan boy's name from the future. Whatever his name is.
Commandy.
Yeah, Commandy. Yeah, he's running around in there apparently. Batman has a plane underneath the Justice League Hall in the future because it's made of special metal and they can travel. They find out that Brainiac has all the possible futures locked up in jars, so they're going to slingshot themselves over to the one that they need to go to. Let's see here. Legion of Superheroes, Millennium. Wow, this didn't need to be written at all. This was horrible. We got that Rose Thorn character running around in here. Apparently she survives the future, and it's a complete shock to her why she does, because she never realized it. Supergirl's now president of the United States. Not really much of the United States left. And we get a lot of interpersonal introspect from Thorn and, from Rose about Thorn. That's pretty much it. Let's see here. Hey, remember when Spider-Man had that black suit? Well, before it tackled Peter Parker, it tackled some other guy.
Yeah, I read that too.
Oh, and by the way, it's a Carnage tie in it because we're going to throw Right Rabbit in there and try to figure something out. This is just a mess. A bunch of stuff just being thrown together. It's all over the place. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But for the most part, the art in it was really good, and I dug the story. But it could have been any other characters. If that makes any sense. Wow. Why haven't I been picking up Punisher? I need to go back to the beginning of this arc right here. This is one of those wraparound covers where he's wearing his Kevlar from the military. I should have been picking this. I should have been reading this. This is my kind of storytelling. I need to pick it up from the beginning of this particular arc because I'm a little lost, but still great. I enjoyed this. Last but not least, Amazing Spider-Man Go Big, going big, might as well just go home. Again, I don't know what's going on this week, but this was another one of those, hey, remember these things that happened in continuity way back when? Here's a little bit more information about them. We see Nightshade in here. I've always liked her as a character. We see other characters, minor characters that we've seen in the past, and we kind of, if you've read Spider-Man in the 80s, you kind of know some of these stories, but these are just like some in between the panel type stuff that happened. Maybe. I don't know. But you're not missing anything here. And those are my books for the week.
That Spider-Man Go Big, is that guy co-published with IDW? Is that one of those
I'm sorry?
Marvel IDW books? That Spider-Man book, is it IDW or is it Marvel?
No, it's Marvel.
Okay, because IDW does a lot of those Marvel kind of books too.
They do the all ages stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Punisher number 15. It is a stash that continues to be great. Now Punisher has his team. There was a great scene in here with Ghost Rider, and the guy's like, "That dude has a flaming head. I'm not going near him." And then they run away. That was pretty funny. Web of Black Widow, meh. Flashed.
I read that too. I forgot that I read that.
Oh, you forgot you read Web of Black Widow.
I thought it was good.
I read Conan Unbound. I'm sorry, Berserker Unbound. So this is the same artist as Savage Avengers, so get the same kind of art style. This is pretty good. The language differences between the two. The Berserker character thinks that he's leading him to the runes, but it's this graffiti, and the cultural clash. Something's Killing the Children, number 1. That's the cover B. This was good. I enjoyed this. Monsters. Teenagers getting slain, one kid getting blamed for it. Sure, why not? I'll take it. Millennium, League of Super Millennium. I think this is an approach on mental health because she's constantly talking about being out of her medicine, and then Thorne's going to go free and cause chaos. So she needs to find medicine in order to keep Thorne at bay. And that's the whole thing. She's just talking about how she needs to do that. Whatever. Goon number 6. This is one of those, the artist, this was not Eric Powell art, but looked very similar to Eric Powell art. The artist on this, so it's still pretty good. SpongeBob SquarePants. The Dick. Oh my God. Tick or Judge Dredd has to be one of the most underrated characters in comic book history, according to SpongeBob.
I agree with the Tick. The Tick is great.
Yeah.
Bob L'Éponge.
And we also have
That's French for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Comics. What's that? What did you say, Drew?
Bob L'Éponge.
I'm sorry.
It's French.
You were interrupting me when I was talking. That's okay.
I was talking about Bob L'Éponge.
I got Conan number 9. This whole thing is just about we find out that he's inside of this bigger monster. Similar to what Star Wars, that they're inside of what they think is a big cave, which actually in the belly of a big monster. And they're playing tricks on him. He's constantly seeing villains he's beaten before in the past, and they're coming back more and more. And and there's a little tie-in with the Red Witch at the end of that. Not very big, but a little tiny tidbit on there. That one's a stash. I'm gonna drop Sword of Conan though. But
just because she's got tiny tidbits.
Tiny tidbits. I didn't say that about tiny tidbits.
You just did. Said it was a tidbit tiny.
I did not say that. Drew,
tidbits were a tidbit tiny. Tiny tidbits.
I don't know where the hell you're getting this
from. Your words.
From my words.
You said there was a tiny tidbit.
I'm not making that up.
I honestly don't remember tiny tidbits. I apologize.
Wow.
There's no need to walk back your language for us. I was just interested, and that's why you were dropping it, because of the tiny tidbits.
Interested in tiny tidbits?
I'm not super interested in tiny tidbits, but any tidbits are good, in my opinion. It's like pizza. Even the bad one, pretty good.
With pineapple on them?
I'll eat pineapple on them. Pineapple tidbits.
Okay. We got a few new subs this week. SpongeBob SquarePants, or how do you pronounce it, Drew?
Bob L'Éponge.
Bob L'Éponge is just recently subbed to us just like seconds ago. Josh R. Comics and Gaming, Wayne McDonald's, Mr. Roboto Comics, And I thought there was one more new comic book normie. So those are the new subs we have since our last show. Thank you guys for subbing us up. And this is your first time watching our show. What did he say? Tried speed dating at Tampa Bay Comic Convention last August. Didn't get one number. Maybe it was my Captain Kirk uniform.
The Captain Kirk uniform was probably a plus, not a detractor. I think you need to work on your confidence and just look these ladies in the eye and say, hey, how them tidbits.
And you know when it's going bad, when you can just click on your communicator and say, Scotty, beam me up and get me out of this speed date. That's all you got to do, right?
They're speed dating at cons?
Yeah,
Captain Kirk didn't have a chest communicator. He had
didn't?
to use they had to use the flip phone.
Oh, whatever it was. I don't.
You are crossing generations, and you know what? I'm not a big Star Trek guy, but I'm going to tell you, you can't cross generations with the Star Trek people. Bob LeBonge just probably dropped his sub. He's probably like, oh, he doesn't know shit. He thinks Captain Kirk is next gen, and then he just dropped us. He was like, nope, not subbing to those guys.
But now that you're defending him and
I'm on his side, man. I am Team Bob LeBonge.
Okay, so this is your first time watching this show. This is Blasted or Stash It.
If this is your last time watching this show,
it might be
Blasted or Stash It. God,
you can follow us on multiple different social medias. We have Facebook, we have Twitter. Besides here on YouTube, we also have Instagram where I post pictures on there. We also have our let me go here. There it is, our podcast. So all the audio from this is is on the podcast form, as well as some other things too. I'm working on another podcast where I'm reviewing some early 80s Marvel books. I'm going to be putting out hopefully here this next couple days. Just go check us out on it's on Podbean. It's on any of your podcasting software.
Click your Podbean for us.
Whatever. Where am I here? So you can also support us by going and getting a Blasted or Stash It t-shirt. This is our having technical difficulties shirt. Go by and pick that up. $22.99. That's a cool shirt for $22.99. As well as our Patreon. So if you want to support us on Patreon, $1 a month gets you entered into the book. And this month's book is Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy #1, the Joshua Middleton variant. If you take a look at it there, that's a pretty great cover. It's going for already like $24 on eBay. So, and I'm going to go and announce the winner tonight. And the winner is, does Pocan Joe want this? Because Pocan Joe's probably going to flip it. So Pocan Joe, he has been supporting us long before he was actually even part of the Blasted or Stash It crew.
He bought his way on the show, I'm convinced.
He bought his way on the show, yeah.
Yeah, I did, because I do what I want because I'm rich. I'm cool with that.
As soon as I get this in the mail, this will be headed out to you, Joe. So if you want to be entered into the other contests for the books that we are getting, go over to our Patreon. Link is down in the description. $1 a month gets you one entry, $2 gets you two, $3 gets you three. So definitely go by and check that out and get entered into the book of the month. Born in 91, remember playing X-Men arcade games as class, but no idea who they're fighting discrimination until 2012.
They only fought discrimination until 2012. After that, they started fighting themselves.
Pretty much.
They had inner conflicts.
Yeah.
So that's it.
They're still about fighting discrimination. So am I.
You done?
I mean, you might start talking again. I might start talking again on top of you.
Yeah, so
do we did we have a grandpa segment?
No grandpa segment because he didn't even look up Funkos. But would you like to say anything tonight, Grandpa?
Not really. I hate you guys.
Yeah, I know.
Aww.
So
whatever, Kroger Lemmy.
We're back live for the time being. I mean, it's going to be till at least next summer till we figure out maybe what my schedule is going to change again. But we are live back on it. So whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next week. And Dan Slock can kiss my ass. He can quit writing that Fantastic Four book and just get the f- out of here. Okay, later, guys.
I'll be prepared next week.
Drew Manchu, baby.
I will be prepared. I'm gonna read some fucking books.
Nobody believes you.